Hey friends, so Saturday was World Mental Health Day, and as somebody who struggles with mental health, I wanted to take this as an opportunity to talk a little bit about my own struggles with mental health and hopefully help some of y'all out there that are likewise struggling to feel a little less alone. Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, bringing you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain, and today we're going to be talking a lot about brain stuff and specifically mental health, mental illness, and I will warn you up front, there is a content/trigger warning for this. We're going to be talking about some kind of difficult subjects in this video, including depression and suicidal ideation and anxiety. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flowfests, Flow Toys, Pirate Hair Light Toys, LMF Props, Spinballs, and Ultra Poi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all these amazing companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. So this is not the video that I thought I was posting today. Originally the plan was to post the second half of that video series on the art that inspired me, and that is going to be coming out on Wednesday now, but this was kind of an unexpected moment for me, not only because I think in the past couple years I've been doing a lot more work to kind of acknowledge and work through my own mental health issues, but also because in the past couple weeks I have started to feel the familiar pull of seasonal depression hitting me. I wanted to talk about this experience openly, partially to educate people out there that don't suffer from these mental health problems, and also too because, you know, it's taken me a long time to come around to the point where I can look at myself and realize that, you know, I do suffer from mental illnesses, and you know, both that's okay, that there's nothing wrong with that, and also to be kind to myself, to not think of those things as being things that like hobble me or keep me from being able to engage with life or anything like that. I first started showing symptoms of depression when I was quite young, at least as early as like 4 or 5. And it was very, very clear that it was a major mental health problem for me by the time I was 7 or 8. We know this because that's when I made my first suicide attempt. That was not my last suicide attempt, but it was a pretty big wake-up call both for me as well as for the people around me. I was put into therapy twice as a child, once right after that first suicide attempt, and then again in my early teen years. Looking back on it, it's very difficult to say whether either of those rounds of therapy was at all helpful for me, because at the time I didn't know how to talk about my mental illness, and that made it really difficult for therapists to be able to kind of help me in identifying behavioral problems and everything, and how to cope with those. Okay, so what does that depression look like for me? I just recently had a conversation about this with my therapist, where we kind of identified what my depression is on basically like a 10-point scale. So from about a 1 to a 4, I have problems with what I call inertia. That is, it is difficult for me to get moving on tasks. You know, it'll take me a couple hours to even get out of bed sometimes. And it's not like I'm sitting there just like full of self-loathing or what have you. It's just like the mental energy to physically get up is really difficult. And it really sucks, because even when I do get stuff done, like, you know that little like dopamine kick that you get whenever you complete a task or you're proud of something you've done or what have you? It doesn't exist. It just disappears. So even if I get something done, I don't get any satisfaction from it. So when I get to about a 5 to a 7 on my scale, this is 1 is the least and 10 is the greatest symptoms from this. This is when I start losing social functioning. You know how there are kind of like unspoken rules to social interactions, like how you have polite conversation and how you respond to people? Something happens to me in this state where it's like I can't find the rule book anymore. Like I don't know how, like I physically just don't know how to hold down conversations. And it really sucks because I feel super guilty about like not being able to interact with people like a normal human being, and I start like isolating myself from other people because I feel kind of ashamed of it and everything, you know? This can have a snowballing effect and cause greater problems with depression because, of course, as you isolate yourself, in a lot of cases, you're also kind of like cutting off your base of support and everything. And the final stage of it for me is what I would put on like a 7 to 10 on the scale, which is thoughts of self-harm and or suicidal ideation. In a lot of cases, this is the stage of it where it's not just difficulties getting moving or difficulties like remembering how to human. It is like a feeling of self-loathing. It is a feeling of like, you know, imagining that people would be better off without me, or that I'm a burden on them, or that like, you know, it becomes one of those things where you feel invisible to a point where you're just like, okay, then I guess I just disappear then, right? Okay, so now that we have talked in a very clinical fashion about a very scary problem, how do I treat my depression? How do I deal with it? I have several different ways. One of the more recent ones, which is like in the past decade or so, is when I start feeling the symptoms of depression coming on, even like stuff that's in the early part of the scale, the 1 to 4 and everything, where I'm just like having a tough time getting moving and everything. I'll usually start taking St. John's wort. I know that the research on that is kind of mixed in terms of its efficacy, but it's kind of a low-tier solution for me that, if nothing else, like will take the edge off the lows. And before anybody asks this question, no, I have never taken medication for depression. I'm afraid to try it, honestly. I'm afraid to try it and have it go horribly wrong. That said, I do not want that to be something that people hear and think that medication is not an option. Medication saves lives. For those of you out there that are on medication, there's no judgment there whatsoever, and I hope that it is the help that you needed in order to manage your own mental health problems. I also try to exercise regularly. I run several times a week, and of course Flow Arts is a part of that. It is now an active part of my routine that, like, one of the ways that I finish up work for the day is I will go out and go spin some poi and like flow out. You know, I will use some of that time to specifically like dance and flow and work out whatever's going on in my head and like identify whatever I'm feeling and whatever I kind of need to process and work through and everything. And finally, I have been regularly seeing a therapist now for almost 2 years. Having my therapist has been an invaluable resource because talking with them is a sandbox where I get to express all of the things that I'm kind of afraid to talk about with other people, and to be able to talk openly about things that, you know, I'm kind of afraid of receiving judgment on, such as mental health. One of these places where there's still a lot of work to be done, though, is in asking for help from the people around me. My natural inclination is to isolate myself. One of those things that I have to deal with and that I have to figure out for myself in the long run is identifying the ways in which I can ask other people for help and depend on them and everything. Goodness, so after all of that, why exactly am I making this video? The biggest reason is that I hope that other people that are out there that are hearing me talk about these things and hearing the struggles that I'm dealing with will hear something that resonates with them and know that they're not alone. This isn't something that you need to be ashamed of. It's not something that has made you broken or that makes you weak. I want to present to people out there that don't suffer from these mental health problems that, guess what? This right here, this is actually what depression can look like. And unless I told you, I don't think a single person out there watching this video would suspect that I was experiencing the symptoms of depression right now, or had been for a couple weeks now. I still wrestle with like feeling ashamed, talking about it and everything. I feel like I'm calling too much attention to myself. I feel like people are going to start grading me on a curve. I feel like, you know, people are going to pity me or try to, like, you know, one thing just in talking about depression the past couple weeks, it's been very clear talking from a lot of people and saying, yeah, I'm experiencing depression, that they're not sure of, like, oh, does that mean he's about to kill himself? It's like, no, there are gradations here. If you know somebody who's struggling and has come to you and talked about it and everything, ask them what their experiences are. Ask them what they're experiencing right then, rather than assuming that you know what that looks like. Because, you know, my symptoms are going to have some overlap with other people, and also, too, other people are going to have different experiences than I've had. And finally, for those of you out there that are struggling, I want to encourage you to go out and get the help that you need. And yes, I know how incredibly difficult that can be. I navigated trying to find a therapist at a point in my life where I was suicidal. And it is one of the most difficult things I've ever done. When you're struggling to muster the will to even keep on living and everything, having to go through the process of auditioning different therapists and figuring out which one is right for you is tough. But the effort is worth it. I swear to you, it's worth it. And if you are like me and don't have all of the financial resources, I would recommend the service that I use to find my own therapist. It's called Open Path Collective. I will leave a link down in the description. Basically, it is a directory of therapists that offer up their services at a steep discount for people that are financially strapped. Goodness, so that was a lot. And a lot of very personal stuff. And the anxiety welling up in me is hoping that people don't think less of me or judge me for having made this video and for having talked to all of you about this. But this is one of those stages in the mental health journey. It is learning how to talk about what I wrestle with and what a lot of people wrestle with, and also to accept this part of myself, and that it is a part of me, and that's okay. And if this is a part of you too, then it's also okay. And you know what? I'm really proud of you for being here and for working through it. And yeah, if you need help, I hope that you get the help that you need, yeah? And if you're watching this and you know somebody that struggles, check in on them. Let them know that you care. Don't wait for them to come to you, because when they're in a bad enough position that that's necessary is going to be the hardest time for them to do it. Yeah? Awesome. Thank you all so much for watching. Please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to help other people find this video and hopefully benefit from it. And a huge thank you, because this video would not be possible without the kind contributions of these wonderful folks right here. They are my Flow patrons on Patreon, and they, along with the wonderful people listed down in the description, make this video and all the videos on this channel possible. A video like this one would not exist without their support, because you know, the YouTube algorithm is such that it encourages you to find your niche and stay in it and never deviate even a little bit from it. So somebody who runs a Flow Arts channel talking about mental health and the impact that it has had on them and everything, the incentives on this platform are not geared in that direction. So thank you all. If you would like to sign up to support the work that I do, and help me in this mission to teach flow arts and really support people all over the world that I hope can benefit from getting up and using their bodies in a new and creative way. You can sign up to support that work. Head on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi. There you can get early access to all of my content, as well as a say in what topics I tackle in the future, and plus some nice behind-the-scenes stuff and extras get posted there every once in a while. So yeah, go check that out, please and thank you. Cool, so thank you all out there for humoring me and for listening. And yeah, once again, those of you out there that are struggling on World Mental Health Day and everything, I'm proud of you, and I feel you. We're in this together. You're not alone. I swear you're not alone, no matter how much you feel like it. So yeah, be kind to each other. Take care of each other. and take care of yourselves too. Please and thank you.